Layer effects and linked layers in Affinity Photo. Just create a shape, just any shape. What you need to do is convert it to a pixel layer. So layer and a rasterize. So it's now, you can see over there, pixel. What I can then do, I can duplicate this design using the duplicate linked. So layer and duplicate linked. Create 2 or 3 of them and then you can see your design there. However, layer effects. How to add layer effects? Just simply go down here and there's a little FX tucked away, really tucked away, but click there and it brings up a panel. Now you've got quite a few: Gaussian blur, outer shadow, inner shadow, etc. So I'm just going to go to the first one, Gaussian blur. Blur that and all will blur exactly the same. You also can go down here and probably some of these are more interesting, maybe 3D, and just change the 3D, and you've got a variety of different settings, direction for the light, you've got light sources, ambient, specular, diffuse. You can reduce things, profiles, so you can create a whole array. Every time you change anything for one shape, all of the designs will change for the others as well. And now that doesn't look particularly great, because what you can do, you can change the shape here. You can alter these designs in all kinds of different ways. You've got shearing, so I can just shear that. You can also add other effects, and I'm just going to quickly add, say, filters and distort and deform. Let's just quickly do that. And as you do that, it will deform the others. So they all deform. But you'll notice you've still got the actual effects. I was going to say After Effects. No, it's not After Effects. Layer effects even. So again, simply select that one. Now that looks completely different to the others, but it's still ostensibly exactly the same shape. The underlying source, they're all linked, even though they don't actually look very much the same. So again, just click there, effects, and you can see that they're linked just there. You've got a little link. And you can change the radius, you can reduce that, and you can modify the profile. A whole range, load of different designs there. What you can also do, you've got bevel and emboss, so you can change that as well. And if you decide, you know what, I don't want the 3D feature, I want bevel and emboss. To be honest, it looks much the same most of the time. Bevel and emboss as well as 3D, so you can change that as well. The key thing is always when you go to this is that you're working there. It doesn't change there. I wish they would change that. That would be nice if they made it a bit clearer that you were moving, because sometimes you've got quite a lot of options here, but it doesn't really indicate that it's the 3D one or the bevel and emboss. Obviously you can tell because it's got that, but it just would be nice if it was a bit clearer, I think. However, you can also add outlines as well. So again, outlines. See, when you click on it, you've got that, but you need to still click on the actual there to make it active. If you don't do that, it will not become active. And then you can change, and you can see on all of them, they all get the same. And you've got options here for contour and gradient as well, which is really nice. So it's always a pity though, no bitmap one. That would be a nice option to have. However, you just got the standard sort of types there of elliptical, etc. And you can modify blending modes and things. Everything can be changed, but they're all changed for all of the shapes. And again, once you're happy with that, you've got your design there. You can still modify it, you can still move it around, rotate it, and you can still go and apply some effects. So you decide, you know what, I want filter 12. Let's just go for 12. And you can do 12 and apply. Now the end result may never be exactly the same. The 12 seems to have a preview and actual end result slight mismatch, I think, personally, because you can create and then it suddenly goes back to slightly thing. So you've got to be, the deform is slightly better than that. But again, you've still got the same option, the layers and the layer style, just change it. And if you want to remove them at any point, you say, you know what, I don't want those at all. I can just remove them and close, or go for Gaussian blur, just as good as any. And there you have it, linked layers with layer effects. And of course, layer effects can be used with anything else. They don't have to be used with linked layers. I think they're really brilliant feature. I'm always slightly surprised that there's no way, unless someone can point it out to me, of actually accessing it via here. I would have thought they would have added it here. sort of a feature, because in Photoshop you've got layer style, you can access it from the layer menu. I always have a tendency to go to this and think, where is it? It's only over here as far as I can see. Effects, unless someone can point out in the comments, it's elsewhere, but I always have to go for there. And you can then gain gradient overlay, and that's actually, gradient overlay is a great way of changing the colour of these designs. So if you suddenly decide, you know what, I don't want the colour, not so easy to change the colour. You can, but you have to use selections and it's not always super effective. But you can use this, and I think this is a much more effective way of doing it. You can modify the offset there, so you can create some very interesting things just by using layer effects. And of course you can change the gradient as well. Though unfortunately you can't access the range of gradients. And this is one thing that terrible, isn't it? I always point these things out, but I love Affinity Photo. But with Affinity Photo, there's always a lack of gradients. I wish they would have a sort of a panel, a swatches drop down here where you could access it. Because you can change it. Obviously, you just click on there and change the colour there. So you can create some things, but it would be nice to have a range of the sort of gradients you've got there to access. And again, you can always change it to elliptical. So you can see you can create design there. There's no inverse either. That would be nice. Yeah, there is there. You can reverse. It's always somewhere. So it is reverse there. So you can change your mind and go with that sort of colour. So you can create, and you can still continue to modify that, of course. You can create a whole range. And of course, you've still got blending modes. So if you want to, you can run through those. So say difference. So you can create some very interesting colour without changing the colour of the underlying design. So if you go back, you've still got that design, still got that colourful design there. And you've got that. So you can then just obviously change things, angle. So you can explore a whole range of different colour designs simply via there. And you can also add colour overlays as well. So just go for difference. Obviously it's not much use having black, but say go for green and red. And you can see you can create some very interesting colour combinations by using colour overlay and gradient overlay. And obviously blending mode difference, light and whatever, something other than just normal would be helpful. So you can create some interesting designs there, and you've got your design there. However, what you can do, as soon as you do this, unfortunately, is that, well, you can go over here, layer, and you can rasterize it. But that will break the link. So if you say, preserve layer effect, I don't want that. So rasterize, you notice then straight away it becomes pixel, and you lose the link, which you might not want. So you can put that back again. But also what you can do, you can always, and I'm just going to push that, because sometimes it chops it off, just cuts it off. If it goes over the edge, if you've got it going over the edge, it doesn't always work particularly well. So I always generally try and avoid the edge there and just quickly resize it. You can group these designs together. So you've got all these designs and you've still got your effects there. So you've still got your effects all selected there. And then you can resize that design. You can also just merge them, merge selected, and those sort of things. Continue on, create all number variety of different combinations with that, and then maybe apply additional layer effects on top of that. Well, I hope you found this tutorial of interest. Always add new tutorials all the time. This is part of a sequence of tutorials about the linked layers, so please check out all the others. Thank you much.